Rink-wide Vancouver, pregame, postgame, every game presented by Bodog from Sports Odds to free casino games. Make a play at bodog.net. Wadden and JPat back with you once again with another edition of the pregame show as we have another Hughes Bowl, JPat. However, first game without the captain.
Yeah, no Bo Horvat, but Anthony Beauvillier will take his place. And in fact, he's going to take his place in the bumper spot on the power play. One of the many questions we had about what will the Canucks look like without Bo Horvat. Looks like Beauvillier is going to skate with Elias Pettersson and Andrei Kuzmenko. So a nice landing spot for him. And as for the Hughes Bowl, boy, this has been one-sided. New Jersey has won 4 of the 5 games that Jack and Quinn have gone head-to-head. Jack with 7 points in those 5 games. So Quinn looking to try to claw his way back up in the win-loss column, but this one's not going to be easy for the Vancouver Canucks. They flew out of Vancouver yesterday, cross-continent, all-day travel, got in a late skate, and then Rick Tocchet electing no morning skate this morning, just some team meetings, trying to keep his guys fresh and ready to go when they face off at 4:30 Pacific time.
Let's get to the lineup change. It's presented by Delaney's OK Tire out there on Fraser Highway in Langley. The big question with this team moving forward, JPat, what are they going to look like without their leading goal scorer? Oh, yeah, and their former captain.
Well, we found out a little bit at the one practice that they did have last night, and that is Beauvillier is going to start on that line with Pettersson and Kuzmenko. We'll see if he can form some chemistry with those two guys. JT Miller slides to the middle, as we all expected. Dakota Joshua, who got a little Rick Tocchet coaching bump just before the break, has points in all 3 of the games, a couple of goals. Dakota Joshua in the top 6 along with Connor Garland on that line. Brock Besser, though, finds himself on the 3rd line with Sheldon Dries and Vasily Podkolzin is back in the National Hockey League, and that's the way they lined up at practice yesterday. And a couple of other Abby call-ups look like they're going to get plugged right in. Nils Amon back in the middle on the 4th line with Curtis Lazar and Phil DiGiuseppe, who got into a game in Seattle before the break. Didn't go so well for him or the club that night, but looks like PDG is going to get another opportunity. Jack Studnicka appears to be the odd man out, which is a little bit of a surprise to me, just because the Canucks like his speed. I thought he played well against Columbus, generated a couple of chances, didn't score against the Blue Jackets, but for a young team that needs to find out who can play and who can't play, I'm a little surprised that Studnicka is going to be on the outside looking in, but 4 games and 6 nights here should provide ample opportunity for a lot of these players to put their best foot forward for new head coach Rick Tocchet.
Yeah, it's been a short stint for Rick Tocchet so far with this team. However, he's got a new team now to work with.
Yeah, and so lots of moving parts, and I would imagine that there will be more moving parts still as the Canucks work their way closer to the trade deadline, which is now less than a month away. Just a quick refresher, the Canucks beat Chicago handily in Tocchet's coaching debut, then went to Seattle and got spanked, and then came home and beat Columbus. So he's 2-1. Has a little bit of a baseline now. I think a little bit of familiarity with some of the players that he has to work with, and we'll see how long and how patient he can be if things don't go the way he's looking. Will he get the blender out? Is he going to stick with some of these line combinations? And really his first statement as head coach came off practice yesterday in New Jersey and said Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes now full-time members of this leadership group. We'll see how they roll with putting A's on the jerseys, because JT Miller and OEL, they remain alternate captains. Of course, there is no captain with Bo Horvat gone, but it looks like Petey and Hughes are going to get A's on their jerseys. Is it going to be a rotation? Is it going to be a home and away split? So we'll start to find out a little bit of how Rick Tocchet is operating, but he is definitely bringing 2 of his younger players and 2 of his young stars into that leadership group, and I think it's the right call for this hockey club.
33 games left to play for the Canucks. What's to play for?
Well, jobs. I think you have to impress the new head coach, and a guy like Dakota Joshua certainly has done that, and he's going to be rewarded with an opportunity in the top 6. I think we have to see what the power play looks like. I also think we have to see what does this penalty kill do. No Horvat, Ilya Mikheyev shut down for the season. Boy, there's some real opportunities there. If somebody can step up and grab the brass ring and show that they can kill a penalty or 2, and so Nils Amon, that seems like an opportunity for him. Maybe DiGiuseppe gets that chance. Will Lockwood, when he gets healthy and back in the lineup, there's another chance for him, I think, to produce for this hockey club. So, yes, the playoffs are a pipe dream. They're not going to happen for the Canucks, but 33 games of evaluation. We'll see if Rick Tocchet can push the right buttons, pull the right levers, and get the best out of his hockey club. And we'll see where it goes from here. And it's not going to be easy starting against one of the top teams in the National Hockey League in the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, not only one of the top teams, one of the younger teams, and one of the faster teams. How are the Canucks going to be able to handle that speed?
Yeah, and that's a concern for me, because you saw what happened in Seattle and the Kraken. I think there are some similarities to the way that these two teams play. They swarm you. They've got good depth up front. This New Jersey team is very good defensively. Only two teams in the league, in fact, the Boston Bruins and the New York Rangers, who the Canucks will see on Wednesday. Those are the only teams that have given up fewer goals this year than the Devils. So the Devils have top-end talent in Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier and Jesper Bratt, and the list goes on and on. But ultimately, their bread and butter is old-school New Jersey Devil, and that's keeping the puck out of their own net. They've done a nice job of it, and Vitek Vanacek is going to get the start. He's won 9 straight himself in goals, so that just adds to the challenge against a New Jersey team that's 8-1-1 in its last 10 hockey games. But like the Canucks, the All-Star break maybe slows them down a little bit. We'll see. I mean, the Canucks, I don't know if they feel they have momentum with 2 wins in 3 games, but Jersey with 8 wins in its last 10, we'll see how they come out of the break. Can they pick up where they left off?
Yeah, let's see if Elias Pettersson can unleash that hardest shot in the NHL tonight.
Yeah, and that was one of the highlights, I think, for Canuck fans. One last roll for Horvat and Pettersson together, playing in the 3-on-3 games, but in the skills competition on Friday night, Elias Pettersson leaning into the slap shot. Hockey world's still making a big deal of the fact that he's not the biggest guy. Deal with it. This is who he is, but he's got the technique, and he can fire pucks. Hey, he's got that power play goal on the board against Columbus in that last game before the break, and so with this new look power play and without Horvat, I do hope that he sees the puck a little bit more with the man advantage and maybe can use that hardest shot to his advantage to find the back of the net a few more times here down the stretch.
Now let's focus in on the Devils for a moment, who are red hot right now over their last 10 games. And oh yeah, right above the top of the league in terms of points percentage and the standings.
Yeah, they're 4th in the NHL in points gained this year and 3rd by points percentage. So don't sleep on the New Jersey Devils. They have a record of 32-13-4. They are getting it done. They're an incredible team on the road. They're sort of average on home ice, so you don't see that formula necessarily boosting teams to the top of the standings, but they're going to be a challenge for the Canucks. And if the Canucks don't get a victory here tonight at the Prudential Center, they're going to go 10 full years without a win in Jersey. Their last one came in October of 2013. Mike Santorelli scored a shootout winner that night. The shootout takers, I was just looking back at the box score, Santorelli, Daniel Sedin, and Alex Edler was one of the top 3 shooters for the Vancouver Canucks. Santorelli scored. It was the only goal of the shootout, but that was October of 2013, the last time the Vancouver Canucks beat the New Jersey Devils on home ice. And so you have to go back even further, more than a decade, to find the last regulation victory. I guess the Canucks players won't care if it's regulation, shootout, overtime. The players want to win. Rick Tocchet wants to win. But again, this is going to be a challenge against a Devils team that is stingy, but they are oh so fast. And I think that's going to be the real problem for the Vancouver Canucks. Can they handle this Devils team speed?
Yeah, and can they score goals on the Devils as well? They have allowed the 3rd lowest goals in the league.
Yeah, with Vanacek getting the start, he's confident. John Marino's been out since before Christmas, but they're getting him back. You look at their defense core, it's a good one. Dougie Hamilton obviously leading the way. Damon Severson. They've got some nice pieces on that back end. And so, again, for a Vancouver team that has been able to score, but this will be a challenge because the Devils have a defense core in front of a goaltender that's in fine form. Again, it just all adds up to what's going to be a steep climb for the Canucks, but I think we're going to be saying that an awful lot down the stretch here over these 33 games, and we'll probably be saying it on most of the nights out on this 4-game road trip because the Rangers are going to be tough. The Islanders game will be interesting, obviously the emotion with Bo Horvat, and then a quick turnaround on Saturday, a noon start in Detroit, 9 o'clock Pacific time. So really it's 4 games in 5.5 days here after almost 10 days off for the Vancouver Canucks. So your guess is as good as mine. A lot of turmoil around this Canuck team, new parts and new faces, and trying to forge chemistry all of a sudden going up against one of the top teams. They're going to be in tough tonight against the Devils.
Yeah, 2 guys that they're going to have to watch out tonight from the Devils are, of course, Jack Hughes, who has made himself into a star, and Dougie Hamilton, who's really having himself a good season.
Yeah, well, let's start with Jack Hughes. 33 goals, 64 points. He's 5th in the NHL in goals and is 9th. So he's a top 10 scorer overall. And again, everybody in Vancouver knows what Quinn is all about, and Jack has reached that superstar level as well, and of course is a couple years younger than Quinn. So 2 of the most dynamic players, and some, it's interesting whenever Quinn is asked about Jack, it's not really a sibling rivalry. He's Jack's biggest supporter and watches a ton of Jack's games, even with the time changes and the fact they're on opposite coasts. But deep down that Quinn is a competitive guy. Didn't they bet on artwork for a house they share or something a couple of years ago for a game? And Quinn came out on the short end then, so I don't know what's hanging in the Hughes house, but Quinn would like to hang a victory on Jack tonight, but the Canucks as a group, and the defensive core, every time he's on the ice, he's got skill, he's got speed, he's creative, not afraid to take pucks to the net. So he's a fun player to watch, and an absolute power play dynamo as well. And Dougie Hamilton, 13 goals as a defenseman, 46 points. So he's got more points than Quinn Hughes does. And since Christmas, is the second highest scoring defenseman in the National Hockey League. So he's been on an absolute tear here over the month of January. Devils have been playing some good hockey, and both Jack Hughes and Dougie Hamilton, big parts of what the Devils have going on.
You rattled off a bunch of stats there. Let's get to the stat that stands out. That's presented by Jason Hominick at jason.mortgage.
Yeah, the Devils, and we talked about the fact they're 8-1-1 in their last 10. 6 of those games have gone to overtime. So they play tight, but they find ways to win the close games. And in fact, the New Jersey Devils have a share of the NHL lead in overtime victories this year with 7. So just file that one away in the back of your mind. If this thing goes beyond regulation time, that's where they are an absolutely explosive team, 3-on-3. It comes back to that speed, but they've also got the skill to go along with it. And nobody in this league has won more overtime games than the New Jersey Devils this year. So they like to play it tight. They're comfortable in these tight games because they believe in the end, their difference makers are going to step up and get them the goal that they need. So lots of overtime hockey for the New Jersey Devils, and maybe we'll see some of it here against the Canucks tonight.
Let's get to my Bodog Best Bet. I'm red hot right now. I've won 5 of my last 6 bets, and I'm focusing in on the Hughes bros on this one. Jack and Quinn with over 0.5 power play points. Look at the value there. Plus 475. You got to be kidding me. Run to Bodog right now. Place that bet. Both the Hughes bros to get points on the PP tonight.
Yeah, I like that. I think both these guys are going to be fired up. I don't know if the parents are going to be there. They generally are. Family affair. And as we talked about, the Canucks power play is going to be interesting to watch now. It's going to have a new look, but if Kuzmenko and Pettersson and Miller and Hughes are there, there's 4 of the 5 component parts, and then Anthony Beauvillier slides into the middle in the bumper spot. It would stand to reason that the Canucks will still run the same types of sets, Miller and Hughes over on that left side, trying to get the puck to the inside of Beauvillier. So I would imagine that he'll get some opportunities. It's a question of can he finish, because he hasn't scored a power play goal all year for the Islanders. But, if it's Miller and Hughes working the puck on the left side, they get it in the inside. Hey, Quinn Hughes likely to pick up more of those power play points along the way, and Jack just so dynamic. I like that one. I'm not sure that I agree with all of your best bets, and you went a little cold there before the break, but you started to chip away again, had a little momentum, so hopefully the All-Star break didn't slow your momentum down. I like this one, the Hughes brothers both cashing in on the power play.
Now, the Canucks have been off for a week, and people have been missing Canucks hockey, obviously, but what they're really missing, JPat, is for you to tell them who's going to do something in this game.
All right. Well, this one feels like maybe the easiest of the season. You make the trade. The captain is gone. Somebody's got to step in here and step up. Well, how about the new guy? He's going to play with Elias Pettersson and Andrei Kuzmenko. He couldn't ask for a better spot there. But boy, he has been ice cold since Christmas, as the Islanders have been offensively, so he was a part of it. But Anthony Beauvillier, welcome to Vancouver. Do something! And do it right away against a good New Jersey team that doesn't give up a whole lot, but he'd be familiar with the Devils. He's seen a lot of them playing on Long Island there, but no goals in his last 8 games, just 1 in 17 since Christmas. So definitely a do-something candidate as he tries to settle in with his new team in his new surroundings. And of course, Thursday will be a big day for him, going back to UBS Arena. But tonight it's Prudential Center, it's the Devils, and it's the Vancouver Canucks. And I am looking at Anthony Beauvillier to sort of hit the ground running here and try to find that scoring form. And hey, maybe a change will do him good. Let's see if he can do something to help the Canucks tonight.
Yeah, let's see if these new look Canucks can get a win for Quinn, as he needs one in this Hughes Bowl. He's 1-4 through 5 games. See if he can start chipping away at Jack's lead. This has been another edition of the Rink Wide Vancouver podcast, presented by Bodog. For Jeff Patterson, I'm Andrew Wadden. Remember, Rink Wide is the show that always scores.